Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us on In the Doll World. I'm Tammy Fisher, and I'm here with my wonderful, lovely co-host, Miss Georgette Taylor.
Hey, everybody.
Hello, Miss Georgette. So today we're here to say thank you for this wonderful year. This 2020 has been crazy, pandemic, but in all of that, in all of that, there's been a blessing for us. We've been blessed to be able to share wonderful stories with you from the doll world and from big creators, small creators, and we just wanted to say thank you. Another thing that I thought was interesting, we're coming to the end of the year, and this is our 9th month. So it's like we're birthing this baby. And I think it feels that way to me because we've done so much, and I think we've done much more than I expected to do. Shows have been downloaded in over 40 countries.
Yeah.
We've interviewed people in more than 13, with connections to more than 13 countries. And it's just amazing.
Yeah.
So we wanted to come and say thank you. So Georgette, what do you want to share from this year?
Well, I just want to, say thank you to everybody who has not just listened to our audio, but who has checked out our videos, and basically for hanging in there with us, for being part of our In the Doll World journey. As Tammy said, it's been 9 months, and it does feel like we gave birth to a whole nother child in a way. And we're just excited that you have appreciated the shows, that you have learned things from them, that you have been surprised at some of the stories that the guests have shared with us. And we're just excited about that and excited for our new growth. We have a whole lot of things that are coming up next year. We're looking to figure out ways to monetize. We're looking at creating different types of conversations in the doll world, and looking to, as always, bring in new doll artists, maybe people that or maybe people that you don't know. So we're just excited. We wanted to say thank you. We just wanted to come on here and say, we wish you guys a beautiful new year. Happy New Year,
everybody.
Everybody out there who listens to In the Doll World. And we just hope that, you get opportunity to share the show. That's all. We just want you to share the show and let other people see all the amazing, beautiful artists and creators that we have within the doll community. So that was it for me.
Okay. I just wanted to say one more thing, and Georgette talked about it briefly. So one of the things that I'm really looking forward to in 2021 is us expanding what we're doing. I think we've done a wonderful job with introducing you to people. We're going to continue to introduce you to people and to both large and small artists. And, that is going to continue. But what we want to do next year is we want to expand what we're doing. We have found that in this 9 months, there are stories that need to be told, issues that need to be addressed, topics that need to be discussed. And we want to take In the Doll World into that arena. So it's not just linking you with your favorite people, but we want to also talk about topics that we feel like the audience and the doll makers and artists are having, that they're dealing with and that they're concerned about. So we want to bring those to the forefront and start to expand the show to be more than just introducing you to doll artists. We're super excited to expand our show into more areas.
Yeah.
So cool. It will be very cool. Yeah. So thank you again for joining us, and have a happy and wonderful 2021.
Yeah, safe and healthy one too. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, guys. Thank you guys for joining us on In the Doll World. Bye.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Candy B, and I am the creator of Poetry Where Creativity Speaks, the podcast. I'm a multi-passionate creative and entrepreneur, and I started the show to serve as a platform for DMV-based artists to come and share their story, share their art, and encourage and inspire others to do the same. And I am so excited for this show today, you guys. I am here with my uber talented co-host, Mr. Kennard Cherry. Ner.
How you doing? My name is Kanai Cherry. I'm the co-host of the Poetry Podcast, and we always highlight great artistry and just talent in the DMV. And I'm a local business owner. I own a symbol company, Domain Symbols. I'm a producer, guitarist, bassist, drummer, and a few other things. But I'm looking forward to getting more of an understanding about these great dolls. And I think I want to get one for myself. So we'll kick it over to Rashida.
Hi, I'm Rashida. I'm a co-host on Poestry Podcast. I am a consultant and author, or soon-to-be author, and I'm a Christian blogger on Blended Review, and also Back to Faith Facebook page. So find me, like me, and I'm looking forward to conversating about everything that's dolls. So I'm gonna kick it over to Almira.
Hello. Thank you for joining us today. I'm another co-host, and I'm so fortunate to be here because my business is in fashion. I've been a fashion designer for many years, and it got a little tiring in that area, so I jumped over into teaching fashion and fashion art with Canvas Runway, which is like sipping paint, but then you throw it up on a canvas. So it's all about dolls on canvas, but now I get to interview someone who's actually making the real doll itself. So I'm excited. Let's get it started.
All right now. So, folks, we are doing our first Poestry Beyond the DMV episode, and I am so excited to host these ladies, Miss Tammy Fisher and Miss Georgette Taylor of In the Doll World. And I just want to have us give them a big warm welcome. Yay!
You know I was going to do that.
Absolutely. Well, ladies, thank you so much for being here. Congratulations on your 1-year anniversary and everything that you're doing. You're doing the annual Black Doll celebration. And also, Miss Tammy, you had a birthday, so happy birthday.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, happy birthday. All right.
Yes.
So, ladies, I want to start this off. Tammy, I'm going to need you to help me refresh my memory. But I was on LinkedIn and I saw this article come up about the new Barbies that were being released. I think it was for Black History. And I looked at the dolls and I was like, oh, wow, that's so pretty. But then when I was looking at the comments, there was a lot of negativity about it. And I saw that you responded to it. And I was like, wow. That's deep. Like, you just broke it down about the whole doll industry and like how much it costed to actually get a doll, it's to market and whatnot. And I was like, I need to talk to this lady. This is amazing. I mean, it just really opened my eyes. I was like, there is so much here that I just had to talk to you. And I'm so glad and honored that you accepted my invitation.
Thank you. I'm excited and I'm honored that you are inviting us here. I see you got me at my chin. Hold on for a minute. That's better. Okay. So that's how we met. There was someone was talking about what was going on with Barbie tends to celebrate Black History Month by doing, something with Black dolls. And last year they had a group of Black dolls that they had dressed, and they were thin and heavy and different hair colors, hair texture. It was just a variety. And I was surprised by the responses that we got from people, because it wasn't me, that were to that a message, because I'm looking and I'm saying, look at this variety. And the people who were responding with the traditional complaints we tend to have about dolls, that the Black dolls don't have molds that are, faithfully molded to look like us, or that that they're too thin, or and it's like, that's not what I saw. And so Georgette and we have been doing In the Doll World for a year and a couple days now. But what we do is one of the things that we do is we want to connect doll lovers and doll collectors. And so we keep seeing this information, especially from the Black community, saying we can't find Black dolls. And I realized that Georgette and I are privileged. We are in the doll world, so we see hundreds of Black dolls, and we know where to look. But for the average person, I'm assuming that they think that all of the Black dolls that exist are those that they see on the shelves in their local stores. Well, most people don't have enough money to make dolls and have them sold in their local stores. It costs money to have a doll on that shelf. So we, after seeing the thing for Barbie in February, I told Georgette, we were going to do a Black History Black History celebration where we introduced people to Black doll creators. And I said, Georgette, we got to go beyond that. We need to introduce people to more creators and share these dolls so that people can see what's here. And it started as a celebration that was going for the month of February. And we got so much response and so many dolls that it's going until August. And we're ending it in August so that we could start it back up in February. We could have continued it. So
wow,
yes.
That's incredible. So tell us a little bit about how you got started into this. And then Georgette, you do the same as well.
In the doll world?
Yeah, into this podcast.
Or in the doll.
Like your journey.
My journey begins with Georgette. Mm-hmm. So Georgette is where you should ask Georgette first, because this is her baby. And she came in and brought me in on her baby. So ask Georgette first.
Okay, Georgette. Take it away.
It's her baby. G's baby.
So yeah, the podcast got started because I was a doll creator myself. I created co-created a doll company called Big Beautiful Dolls with a friend of mine, Audrey Bell Kearney, who came up with the idea. And I had collected a few dolls before, which was mainly by and large dolls. And so she saw one of my dolls and realized how much I spent on it and said, man, we could do this, right? So she had this idea of creating a plus size fashion doll. So that's kind of how it started. My journey in general to doll making and to creating a doll of my own. And I have been in podcasting for probably about 15, 20 years. I was doing podcasting on Blog Talk Radio as it is now. And so when podcasting came back around, I wanted to create a podcast about the people that I met along the way and the people that I admired in the doll industry, and thought that a podcast would be pretty cool. I was doing another podcast from my business called Dynamic Life Enterprise. And it was more about inspiration and using affirmations and using positive words and sharing my story and other inspirational stories. And then I decided, well, I think I want to do another podcast called In the Doll World, and just showcase doll makers and creators to people who aren't necessarily doll makers and creators. I wanted them to see the people behind the dolls on the shelves and the dolls that they collect. And so that's kind of where it started. Me and Tammy met because she purchased one of my dolls, my Deja doll. I don't know if you can see her right here, but she's right here. Mm-hmm. So this is the Deja doll. So this is Deja, and
very fancy.
very fancy. And so Tammy purchased one of those dolls, and then we wound up talking because she contacted me again and asked me, if I could share information with her about doing a doll. She was thinking about doing a doll, and then we just became friends. And me knowing her, I knew how much information she had about dolls and about collecting dolls. And I approached her one time, and first she said no. She said she didn't think she had, enough information. And then, like I said, we just stayed friends. And when she created her store, I realized, she has a lot of information. She knows a lot of people. And I really want to do this podcast with somebody, who brought that history and information, to the show. Because I could talk about creating a doll and how it was for me and my journey, but I wanted somebody who actually, was talking to current people who were in the doll business. And so I reached back out to her, and we talked about it, and we started interviewing people, I think 2019 in October, something like that. And then when COVID hit, we decided, well, Tammy mentioned to me, she said, hey, maybe we should actually, publish the show. And I said, okay, that sounds good, because, we wanted people to have something to listen to that was different than what they were listening to when COVID had started. So we made a list of people we wanted to talk to, and we just hit the ground running. And Tammy made some calls, and we talked to a lot of people that we have admired in the doll industry, and we still have so many more people to talk to. It's so funny because people say, how much more can you do? We could do a lot more. There's so many people within this community that we are sharing with other people, and they find it to be really interesting because they don't think about doll makers as business owners, and they are entrepreneurs. They're creating a craft, they're trying to sell their dolls. Some of them are work full-time jobs and still trying to create a doll, and it takes a lot to create a doll. It's just not like, oh, I want to create one. There's so many other steps that go with that. So they, everybody gets to hear that, and I'm really excited about that they get to see the people behind those dolls and those creators, even people who are not into dolls. So it's been cool. It's been really fun.
Absolutely. I'm glad you guys are doing it.
Thank you.
Well, I have a question.
Sure.
So my question is, I noticed you guys use the term faithfully molded, and I believe when I was looking at one of your YouTube channel, actually, you used the word faithfully sculpted, and you mentioned a lady, I think Allison Hernandez, who used that term, and when I heard it, it was so captivating. I was wondering, what does that term mean to you? I guess I'm hitting it hard, instead of the easy questions. I'm wondering, what does that mean to you? Because faithfully sculpted sounds like it means so much to this industry of dolls. Like, when you hear that, what do you think about that term?
So, are we in?
You can answer that, Tammy.
Okay.
Good.
Okay. So, faithfully sculpted goes back to having dolls that look like us. And Allison Hernandez has a show, Muñecas, Pupes, and Dolls. And she is the first person I ever heard use that term, but it is right. I mean, it's perfect. The other terms I have heard used are like, is it anthropomorphically correct? And that feels really scientific. So I appreciate the faithfully sculpted. And faithfully sculpted means that the dolls look like us. So if you go back, we have, if you look at what has historically happened when Black dolls were being rolled out, someone had a doll, it was a white doll, it was sculpted as a white doll. So it had features that tend to be more commonly seen in white people, like, the thinner nose and lips. And they painted it black. And then they started painting them brown, but they did not have our beautiful features, our, beautiful full lips and noses. So that to me is what faithfully sculpted is about, having something that truly represents our beauty. There's one thing to have a doll that is the same color as you, because they got to browns earlier, but it's another thing to have one that looks like you, to have that looks like you and your people. So that's what faithfully sculpted is about.
So I like, because this reminds me of the current industry we're seeing, where we're seeing Band-Aids that have different colors. We're seeing Crayola crayons have different colors, and now and we're seeing the dolls now. They're getting so diversified. You see the different colors, and I think one of your interviews, you guys interviewed a lady who's doing science. So now we're even taking it to the technology stage. And so what do you think is the only, or that I'm not aware of, or new listeners, this new platform that you're interviewing on, what's another industry you think we can hit? We've hit technology. We're starting to hit the different faithfully sculpted things, the mixed media. I've seen that one. So what's the next industry we could hit in the doll industry?
Wow.
I'm not sure that I understand the question.
So do you think we have we hit we see artists world, you see the American Me, and they do who's the next NASA astronaut. I think they mentioned possibly Bluetooth, there might be a doll app. I mean, I don't know, because I haven't gone into this pioneer world. Where do you think this doll industry, what are other, we've seen the mixed media and the art, but what's something else that we could do in this doll industry for the platform, and where can we take it next?
So do you want me to answer that, Georgette, or you want to?
Yeah, I'm trying, because I'm trying to really think about that question, because
Okay.
Because like she said, we're going into the science things, we're going into people showcasing entrepreneurs, we're going into them having the ability to help people as far as therapy. Dolls are used as therapy and things like that. I don't think we talk a lot about that, about how dolls are used to help people through different aspects of their lives. So I'm not sure exactly where you can take it as far as you want. If anybody has the imagination to take it to another place. I mean, articulation in dolls is going extremely, has been real extreme. I mean, they've gone from moving shoulders to elbows to now moving their breastplates and their stomachs and their hips, and it's just amazing. And for posing purposes, for photography, how to pose dolls differently and how to get more of a real image for a doll. So I think you can take it. You can take it as far as the imagination, I think, can carry you. So as far as me personally, I do not know where that would be next. Once it shows up, then I could share that with you. But honestly, I really don't know. Because it's so diverse, and you could do so many things in that world that I don't know what's possible. Anything is possible, honestly.
So what I think is some of the newer things that we're seeing we're seeing the materials changing. So we've seen this movement where we've seen a lot of people moving to resin.
Yeah.
Now we have people who are doing more 3D printing. And I think that's going to be significant, because once 3D printing occurs, it gives people the ability to mass produce dolls at home. They don't have to send a mold to another country, send a doll to another country and have this mold made to have this doll sculpted, and then have the doll shipped back. And so all of the things that go along with that whole manufacturing and shipping process changes when you can do it at home. I think we're going to see more advances in the materials. I'm assuming, because if you just look at what's happening with toys in general, you're seeing people using more materials that are eco-friendly. So I'm expecting to see that to happen in the doll world. I haven't seen it happen yet, but I'm expecting to see more dolls made from recycled plastics or something like that. Another thing that you spoke about was Bacola's doll. You're talking about science. So science. Yeah, there was a time when we saw there were a number of talking dolls on the market, and those dolls had records in them, or they had tape. You could put the little tapes in the cassette tapes in them. We're seeing more dolls that are more interactive. And so this technology is being pulled inside of the doll. So you see it with Bacola's doll, with the ability to speak to you. We spoke to someone else who was saying, I'm thinking about not only having a doll that comes with information that I put in it, like the phrases that I give the doll, but I want to also possibly leave a blank space in there. So let's say your grandmother buys you a doll that talks. There's a blank space in there for your grandmother to say, happy birthday, I love you, or whatever. So people can use dolls to deliver individual messages. Those are some of the things that I think are going to come. We're also seeing dolls with human hair. The dolls that I've seen that have human hair are being made by Black doll makers. And these dolls are being made so that our children can learn how to appreciate their hair younger. So there's a number of those dolls out on the market right now. So those are some of the things. And Georgette spoke about the articulation. A lot of the play dolls are not like the 18-inch dolls. There's not a whole bunch of articulation in that area. I'm expecting to see more articulation. So more articulation, more use of different materials for hair and for their bodies, and more interactivity. So we interviewed someone recently, and she was talking about, she has a doll, and she was talking about how, like, if you put this instrument in the doll's hand, the doll says this thing here, or those kinds of things. I also can imagine dolls doing more teaching, being used as teaching, because we are seeing people who are making dolls that speak different languages. So I can imagine someone rolling out dolls that are doing more teaching. There was one on the market, but there were issues with the Bluetooth technology, and the doll basically got banned because they were saying that that technology also allowed for people to hear what was going on in your house, and that was too much for that to be happening. So I can imagine people learning to use that in a smarter way, where it's not giving out your information, but it is able to help the doll, to help the child, by the child and the doll's interactions. So that's where I see things going in the future. And more diversity.
I would definitely like to see more, see more in that aspect too, because technology is a big part of education. And then also when you have Bluetooth, you think about, infrared technology, then they do have what you call one-to-one chipsets, which means it's no way for it to be intercepted by anything else outside of between that doll and whatever it's transmitting through. So I think I would love to see that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's fascinating. I mean, it's they're evolving, they're toys. It's just like we have the robotic toys, and they're just going to keep evolving like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, my apologies, Georgette. I think I cut you off. So you were saying something?
You're fine. No, I think that was part of what you were saying about the technology, as far as even not so much just having the doll talk to you, but being able to talk to the doll, and have this interaction, with the doll. So yeah, you're right about the technology. I mean, that should definitely be something that would be the next step, because I mean, if you have a doll that talks to you, that's one thing, but children want to interact too. So they want to have something that they could, that can talk back to them too as well. So
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, especially just this generation. I think Mary, you had a question.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. She just muted herself.
Unmute.
Oh, yeah.
There you go.
Is it good?
Yeah.
Yes.
There you go.
I love you too. So ever since I was little, I was dressing up dolls. And then the first doll I ever got during Christmas time was like, it was a sewn doll, and it had yarn hair. And I was mad at my mother for giving me that doll, because I wanted to be able to brush it and comb it and do something. And I stared at the doll, and mind you, one of her coworkers actually made the doll. And she was looking at me like, "You ungrateful child." And I was like, "You bought the wrong doll." But I appreciate it now, and I wish I could find it. But in the meantime, I got the courage. She was like, "Well, you're just going to have to make up your own." And so it wasn't until recently where this lady, I'm a fashion designer, by the way, and make everything from prom dresses to wedding dresses. But I was like, you know what? Let me just go to the doll. So I bought a doll from the dollar store, and the first and only doll I ever made was this.
Oh, that's nice.
Mm-hmm.
Gorgeous.
Wow.
That's really nice.
Wakanda doll.
Wow.
I'm loving it. I'm loving it.
That's
nice,
great.
Mama. I love that.
Yeah, that's really
And
nice.
It took so much time to make this mamma jamma.
Nice. Tulle. You got tulle in there. That's
Exactly.
Awesome.
Lots of layers. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. It's a long process. I don't
It
know
is.
how you all. But my question is, if I wanted to take it to the next level, I'm coming to you as a student. What is my next step? Like, I want to be able to maybe just be the designer, like maybe go ahead and create. Well, I probably both. You have the doll, and then I come out with the line of dresses. Like, what's the next step before Mattel wants to knock down my door?
Well, I mean, Tammy can definitely chime in on this. I think that the next step would be to create more outfits, right? Because you want to have a variety of styles so people can see what it is that you're doing. And also, I think the next step too would be you can decide whether you want to create a doll for yourself and dress it, or you have to decide whether you just want to create fashions for other people's dolls. And whether they're 18 inches or 12 inches, or that's what I think. That's what I think your next step would be, is to actually decide which one you want to do first, and then also have like a portfolio, not just one outfit. Have a portfolio so so people can see your work first of all. Because just having one outfit, you have to make sure that you're going to be able to design outfits for people for dolls that you want to dress. That's my the first two things I think you should do. Because having one outfit, we can see some of your styles, but we can't see everything that you could do. And we want to be able to see a variety of the types of fashions that you can do for fashion dolls out there, because they're very intricate.
So is there like a fashion week for dolls where you come out with a line of 12 dresses or 12 designs, or, is there an actual fashion week for the doll world?
They have fashion shows. Go ahead, Tammy. Go ahead. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we are going to be participating in a fashion show in September. Someone's doing a fashion show with dolls. Awesome. I believe Integrity Toys has a competition, an annual competition. You would have to look that up. And so that would be a place to go. But if I were in your shoes, knowing what I know now, I would say that I think that what Georgette gave you was some good information. I would make some more dolls. I would look at, not dolls, but doll clothing. I would look at patterning and how to simplify patterning, because do you want to be a person who makes one-of-a-kind doll gowns? Because there are people out there who that's what they do, and they dress some of the more expensive dolls. They make one-of-a-kind outfits. So do you want to make one-of-a-kind outfits, or do you want to make limited edition numbers of outfits, or do you want to make mass-produced numbers of outfits? So depending upon what you want to do and how much of that work you want to hand to someone else, you should look at your patterning. So the simpler you can make your pattern, the easier it will be for you to hand that out to be mass produced. So that's one of the things that if I were you, I would look at. I would look at the audiences of who is out there and what they're buying. So you have people who are buying, dolls that are $5. You have people who are buying dolls that are $100. There are people who are buying dolls that are $5,000. Who's your market? So look at what those dolls are wearing and join some of those groups and start showing your doll clothing in those groups. So purchase dolls that cost whatever it is, that whatever group. So if you're going with Barbie, you buy Barbie dolls, or there's a number of 12-inch dolls that are high end. So you could make clothes that would fit Barbie that would fit these other 12-inch high-end dolls. So buy your doll, get your doll dressed up, do it that way. I would not recommend starting off with making dolls. The reason for that is, if you are someone who makes doll clothing, your investment is fabric and sewing machines and that kind of thing. And those things don't cost that much money. You can easily manage that. If you want to make a doll, we're talking about tens and hundreds of thousands of dollars. So you have to decide if you want to do that. When you go to your factory, they're going to tell you what the minimum run is. So you're going to have to pay some, I don't know, maybe you sculpt, but most of us have to pay a sculptor to sculpt the doll. And then once you get that doll together and you say, this is what I want, you send it to a factory. The factory makes a mold. The factory then tells you there's a minimum run. So you have to pay for the molds to be made, which are going to cost you, depending upon the doll and how much articulation, how many little, spots there are in this doll, your joints and whatever, it's going to cost you thousands, $10,000 to make just the mold. And then after that happens, you have to have so many of the dolls made. So maybe it cost you, I don't know, I'm going to say $20 to make a doll after you get the mold made. So you have to pay 20 times, let's say their minimum run is 500. So then you have to pay that much money. Then you have to get the dolls' clothes. You have to buy their hair. You have to get them painted. So when I talk to people about making dolls, it's like, do you have enough money that you could risk a mortgage payment? Can you risk the cost of a house? If you have that kind of money, then go ahead and do that. If you can lose that and be cool with it, okay. But if you can't afford to lose that kind of money, I would not do it, because that we're just talking about making the doll. Then you got to get it advertised, and you're going to try to get it on a shelf, or doll making is big money.
There won't be no shelf space.
Yeah, it's big. It's big money. It's Now, and so
yeah.
Go ahead.
What are some groups to start following? Some groups that can catch my eye. Sorry to interrupt. There's some groups to catch my eye, to start to be a part of, to watch the doll. I mean, I'm definitely following you two.
Okay. So what kind of clothing do you want to make? That's the question. Who are you? Are you? Do you want to dress dolls that look like they're on a catwalk? Do you want to dress dolls in jeans and t-shirts? Do you want to dress dolls? Do you want to dress 18-inch play dolls? Do you want to dress collectible dolls? There's this whole range. So
African wear on a pedestal.
You want African wear on a pedestal?
Like African dolls that sit, or no, just dolls in general that you have like collector items that look really pretty sitting inside of one of those nice little cases, and they're just sitting, cute to just look at, but African print and laces.
Okay. That still doesn't answer that question. The reason that, and I'm sorry, it's because I'm so deep in the doll world. So you can put any doll in that position. So you need to decide, do I want to do women dolls? So mature, fancy looking dolls.
Or collectibles
because people collect everything. A lot of people collect dolls from their childhood. So I can't answer that question without what you have. So here's your question. You need to decide what kind of dolls you like, and then go out from there. Do you want to stay in the high fashion industry, the play industry, the 18-inch dolls? I'm sorry, there's no quick answer to that.
Well, I have a question. Since Rashida again, I have a question. Since y'all are talking about the diversity of dolls, and I think I've listened and learned a little bit, and I think you said that there are 12, 14, and 18-inch dolls, at least, though I'm sure there's all kinds, but those are usually the 12 and the 18 are the standard, 14 maybe. Out of the dolls you've seen, which ones are, I don't want to use the word favorite because I'm sure there's so many favorites, but what are the dolls that are the first to come to your memory or pop out that you thought were remarkable, or not just remarkable, just what are the ones that are first ones? If you had a top 3 or top 5 or top 2, what are the dolls that pop out for each of you and why?
Well, for me, I would say, since I was not a really big collector before I started my own dolls, I did find some dolls from Byron Lars. He was one of my favorite designers because he worked for Mattel, But what I loved about his dolls was because of the fashion. They were so different. They were very African inspired as well. He didn't use kente cloth or anything like that, but it's just that the way that he created the African American dolls, the fashion was just so beautiful. I never seen fashion like that on dolls before, and he just had a really wide variety of designs that was just totally different. And he's a fashion designer. He currently is a fashion designer and has been for many years. And he took his fashions to Mattel and created his own line of fashion dolls there. And I mean, they were just amazing. I mean, I actually have one here, not to just, but anyway. So I mean, look at her. She's gorgeous, right? I mean, like the
Oh,
detail in her
yes.
That's
is
nice.
beautiful. I mean, I never saw a doll like that before, with the Afro puffs and you know what I mean? And this was a while ago that he did that. So for me, by and large, was just one of the dolls that I really started collecting. I'm not, like I said, I just haven't been a big collector, but he was definitely one of the people that I started collecting. And we have obviously some people that we've had on the show that have been really great people for me to look at their dolls and look at how diverse they are. And so that I would say for me it started with Byron Lars, and I do have a couple of other favorites. But since we have a show with thousands of people on there, I'm not gonna yeah, it's they I do have some favorites though. But Byron Lars is definitely was my kickoff for collecting, because I had not collected any dolls before. Tammy is the major collector, so I'm sure she has a list of dolls that she has fallen in love with. So yeah.
Tammy.
You don't have enough time for your show for me to give you my
I know.
list.
I can just imagine.
I know that's right.
So I'm an eclectic collector. So I have dolls from lots of different times and for different reasons. So one of the next dolls I'm going to add to my collection is going to be a Sara Lee doll, because the first Black doll that was mass produced here in America and maybe in the world was the Sara Lee doll. So that's one I want to add to my collection. I love diverse dolls. Like Georgette, there's so many people that we have interviewed who do just incredible.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna pull a couple of people that we've interviewed, and the reason that I'm going to pull them is because of how different their dolls are. So both of these people are people who have pushed diversity. And that's why their dolls are some of my favorite. But like I said, I could go on. There's so many of them. Mike Buse just released the first Latina fashion doll that's vintage style, Fabiola of Hollywood.
Yeah, she's beautiful.
Fabiola is fabulous.
Yes.
Yes. And her daddy is wonderful. I love Mike Buse. But even if I didn't love Mike, Fabiola is exquisite. So she is one of the ones that I would talk about, I would say. And the other person is Joseph Zacharias, because Joseph's dolls represent people who have not been represented in the fashion world. So he looked at the people walking the catwalks in Australia. So he has dolls that are molded, they're sculpted to look like the Black people in Australia or the Asian people in Australia. So we have not, most of our dolls look more like what we're used to seeing. So it looks like, Native Black people, in Australia who are on the catwalk, and so I find those dolls, that line of dolls, the Glamour Oz dolls, exceptional for that. there are, I'm loving the people who are doing the natural hair dolls because I think that's significant. But then there's a whole debate about, I mean, should you be using human hair on a toy? I don't know. But their process behind why they're doing it, they want, to help, Black girls learn how to, or people with, hair like ours, thick, curly hair, learn how to manage their hair. I support that. Um, there are, there's so many.
I know.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to
So
stop there
many.
because like I said, I would just, Georgette's Deja is one of my favorite, and that line is important because I don't know if Georgette said this, but Deja is another history making. And so like when I'm talking about dolls that I'm recommending, they are dolls that stand out historically. They're historically significant in the doll world.
Mm-hmm.
Georgette and Audrey created the first plus size fashion doll. So those dolls stand out from a historical standpoint. And those are the dolls that I'm talking to you. Those are dolls that are historically significant.
Mm-hmm.
But I have all kinds of dolls, but those are
Right.
the ones that I think are worth mentioning in this arena because of their historical significance.
And Georgia, you actually won an award for your doll.
Yes, I did. I won an award from the Detroit Doll Show, and it was about loving who you are. So the award was given to me for me helping to create dolls that help women and young girls love the skin that they're in. And so that was one of the awards.
We actually have a picture of that here.
What? Oh, look at that hair! Oh God!
And she's
I
wearing lingerie.
Oh my gosh!
So so let me give you a little backstory in the lingerie. So what happened was I was thinking about doing a new doll, and because me and Audrey, we don't do Big Beautiful Dolls anymore, and but we're still really good friends. I mean, I produced podcasts for her. We've just been lifelong friends. So we decided we weren't going to do the company anymore. Like you said, it was very expensive to maintain that. And so I decided, I think I'm going to jump in and do another doll. But I wanted something different. And because of the fact that the doll's about being plus size and people and women loving their bodies, I thought, hey, this would be great for me to maybe do some body paint or some body art on the doll. And so that's what I wanted the doll to be. I wanted to be like different types of body art on the doll. And so that's what you see there. There was a woman that I actually found online. Her name was Georgette as well. And I reached out to her and I said, hey, I have this idea of doing this doll and I want you to do some body art for me. And we talked about what we wanted. And like I said, I wanted to focus on the fact that she was plus size. So we just talked about it and she sent me back a sample. She asked me if I liked it and I said yes. And then when she sent it to me, it was just amazing. I mean, it really looks like you could take off her outfit, honestly, because it was so real, so realistic. And so yes, I only made several of those. As Tammy mentioned before, when you're manufacturing, you have to manufacture, the minimum amount of dolls that they require you to. And sometimes that minimum could be 300, sometimes it could be 500 or whatever that is. And at the time I was not able to garner enough at the time to get a minimum of 300 sold. So what I did was I just did a sample run of 10 dolls. And so I have 7 people who actually have that doll. So it's only 7 people out there who actually have that doll. And
so where's the other 3?
My collection.
Oh, okay.
I have one that I have to send to the that I had sent to the artist who did the doll for me because we have worked out something. So I sent her one, and then so I have 2. So one is mine, and I have one that's I don't know what I'm going to do with it yet, but she turned out beautiful. I loved her lingerie, and it was just beautiful work. And it was a great opportunity for people to see, the size of the doll, because I think that's what, that's that was, her plus size body, and she's proud. She's proud of that. So that's why I wanted to do some type of body artwork on the doll.
Yeah, it's really cute. I wonder if are there other dolls kind of like that where they, they're showing the lingerie and they're plus size. I mean,
well,
I know
not well.
Yours was the first.
Yeah, mine was the first, and then Robert Tanner, he had Emmy, who was a plus size model. She came after that. As a matter of fact, Audacia doll, the same year that doll, the Emmy doll came out, Audacia doll was nominated for the Doll Awards of Excellence. And it was her first time out. And so we were really proud of the fact that she was nominated for that award. But they don't have too many more plus size dolls. I think Mattel started doing some plus size dolls. And they do have several dolls that have lingerie, though. They definitely do. And I do believe Michelle, I think some of the Silkstone Barbies had lingerie. As a matter of fact, I have one that's an African-American one. She has lingerie on.
Oh, okay.
But none of them are body painted. Well, not now, at least not until now. So probably somebody hears this interview, but not until now. There's none that are actually body, have had an artist do body painting like for yours, the dolls. Yeah. So
That's
very cool. First one.
Very cool.
Now, is that doll the whole thing body paint, or is it body paint and then there's some clothes on top?
No, just all body paint.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah, that stockings, garters. Yeah. Yeah, it was pretty cool. I mean, everybody that saw it could not believe that it was body paint.
Let me put it up one more time.
Now, for this audience, can you tell us what year did you receive that award? So what was the first year where they started doing the different body size? Because I have seen the Mattel one, but it does not captivate what I'm seeing. It's amazing.
Well, nobody really started doing different. When did they start doing different body sizes? I mean, I know we were the first one, and we did ours back in 1999, 2000.
Oh wow!
I think Robert Tanner introduced Emmy. I think in 2001 or 2. I'm not quite sure, but I know he was right after us. But ours was the first plus size fashion doll ever to introduce a body type that was totally different. And that was one of the reasons we left her 12 inches, because at the time we wanted it to be we wanted you to be able to see the comparison. We didn't want her to be 16 or 18 inches, because then people would question, well, is she really that big, or is she really, plus size, relative to the size of the doll. So that's why we kept her the same height as like a Barbie doll. 11 and a half, 12 inches. So that way, when you put them next to each other, you knew for a fact that she was a plus size doll. So that was the first one. And like I said, then Robert Tanner came with the Emmy doll. And then Mattel, I don't think there was another person. You can help me out with this, Tammy. I think it was the Lamely doll. Lamely, right. And I
but
think
she's not really plus.
I know, but I think she was marketed, right?
Larger. She was more marketed as looking more like people look.
Yeah. Big person. Yeah, I think so. A little bit bigger than Mattel. But so actually, like, and so after that doll, after the Lamely doll, I think then the only one that did come out with I guess more average looking body or plus size body would be Mattel. I mean, and plus sizes in the plus size market is size, I believe, is 14 or 16 and above. So that's pretty, average for women.
CJ has very curvy dolls.
Yes,
CJ Stars.
CJ Stars.
And so he's got a rounder body doll, and there's a number of dolls that are more curvy.
Okay, well that's good to know.
Yeah.
We're actually going to take a quick break, and then we're going to come right back. So thank you, ladies. Stand by, please. We'll be right back.
Unmute your mic, Candy.
Sorry about that. Thanks everyone for hanging with us.
Yep.
You are watching Poetry Where Creativity Speaks, the podcast, and our guests are Ms. Tammy Fisher and Ms. Georgette Taylor. Ms. Tammy will be right back, and Georgette is still here with us. So Georgette, thanks again for being here. I'm curious to know, after you rewatched the video of the New Year's, wishing everyone a happy New Year. How are you feeling about how the year has progressed so far, and what you wanted to do, what your goals were?
Oh yeah, I think the year has progressed wonderfully for us. I'm excited. Yeah, and well, we really had a great opportunity, as Tammy said, to extend the celebration, which we didn't know that was going to happen when we started having the Black Doll celebration. We didn't know it was going to be so received so well, and so we are extending that into August, and we have way more people now reaching out to us, asking us to showcase their dolls and sharing dolls with us. So we have a whole lot more coming up, like probably within the next 5 to 6 months. So we're excited about that, and we're reaching out to way more people and more diverse people that are doing other types of dolls. Like we just interviewed a person that did a lot of indigenous dolls and, talked about, and I know when Tammy was talking about the different materials and how she uses the materials from where she lives at in Washington. She uses a lot of the wood there, a lot of the moss for hair. I mean, her dolls are really, really great. And so,
not to interrupt you, but was that Miss Caracas?
Yes. Yes. Ileana's show.
Yes.
Yeah. And so we're bringing more diverse, doll artists to the fold, and even with the mixed artist doll with Patricia Coleman, that was mixed media. And so we get opportunity to see how she creates her dolls. So we're kind of expanding from just fashion dolls, to all different types of dolls. So yeah, I think we're headed in the direction that we wanted to go, from last year. I mean, from the new year, the New Year's show that we did. So
Right.
yeah, I feel good about that. And so, and we're on amazing shows like yours, so we're excited. I mean,
that's
it's
awesome.
true because, it's excited, and it's exciting because I really want to be able to be on more podcasts and talk about, our niche, community and what we're building and looking forward to doing. So, yeah.
Put the word out there and educate people on this huge industry. It's what, $1 billion industry, and
yes,
people just don't realize just how much goes on, and all the opportunities that are there. So, Miss Tammy,
yes.
Yes.
Miss Tammy,
Yes.
are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Are you to answer your question? Yes.
Yes.
About what we're doing. I am also excited about what we're doing, and I think that in this first year, you want to know about our first year or our second year, because both are exciting to me. So I'm excited about our first year because we went from just going to, get some people who are doll makers and doll lovers together, and that will be so much fun, to talking about the industry and to introducing people to lots of these small doll artists. One of the things so this takes us into that second year. With this year, diversity is really critical. And so, yes, we did do Ileana's show. We interviewed Amy with the dolls that are made for children who have, whose bodies look different. Like maybe they have cancer or missing a limb, or so we're reaching out into the differently abled community.
It's wonderful.
Are just, this year we've got some other shows. I don't want to tell everything that we're doing, but we've got some really cool diversity going on, but that's been going on. We're focusing on it now, but that's what our show is about. And I think Georgette talked about, how many countries our shows have been downloaded in, and how many we've interviewed people from every continent except for Antarctica.
That's
incredible. Yeah, and we were sitting and we're talking one day. So Georgette and I, in one day, interviewed people, someone from Brazil, someone from Poland, and another person from the
Mhm.
U.S. And we did this in like a 4 hour span.
Oh, wow.
So it's such a blessing to be able to be
Hmm.
talking to people and following some of these amazing projects that people are doing and seeing people, hearing their passions, and it's just, this gig is so good. It is. I mean, it's one of those ones,
Yeah.
you just feel blessed to be part of it. It
Yeah.
is just
Yeah.
so good. It is so good. It just,
I loved when she said that. That's
Yes,
awesome.
oh,
I do
But
too. And
but it is true. I think it's fun. We get to meet the people that we really admire, and like
mhm,
you said, we get to educate people. We get to
yeah,
educate people not just from our standpoint, but also from listening to the artist,
yeah.
right? Educate people on what their process is, what their journey has been, what they're going through. And the fact too, they're still, as we kind of missed this when we first started, but we know, but they're entrepreneurs,
Hmm.
and people want to know, how do you have a business, doing what it is that you do. and
Right.
um and so when Myra, mentioned about creating fashions, I mean, people that listen to our show may not thought about, oh my gosh, I could go into creating fashions just for dolls. I
Hmm.
can go into creating dioramas just for dolls, and creating these all these different types of things that I do can be translated into creating something for the doll world and the doll community and doll creators and artists. Even just taking photographs, taking amazing
Hmm.
photographs of their work. So I think it showcases not just the um the dolls themselves, but the entrepreneurs and the creativity and the artistry that goes into that. And that's what excites me all the time, with this show.
Yeah, there's so many different facets of the industry that people don't realize. Like you were saying, there's the photography and the clothing, and I saw
Mm-hmm.
a woman who makes little miniature, um, like there's a little basket, and
Mm-hmm.
so I guess another thing would be for the doll houses. So all the
Mm-hmm.
furniture and everything that
All
goes with the
accessories and
decor,
things like that.
exactly, yeah. And I was
Yeah.
curious, you all have guests from all over the world, and I was wondering what your demographics are as far as the listenership. Do you know like what the age span is, what it ranges?
Usually, I think most of them are between 35, I think. Between 30, they usually start about 35. That's the bulk of it, till probably
Mhm.
about 60. But we do have,
Okay.
it's interesting because we actually do have some that's around 27,
Hmm.
but the
Hmm.
bulk of it is about 35 and up. Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there have been so many poignant stories that I heard with your guests, and I think people are surprised to hear about just how important dolls have been in their lives. I mean, there was a story about I think it was a colonel who was serving overseas and bought a doll because it reminded him of his wife. And
Hmm.
there, another story of the lady you mentioned earlier who was making dolls of her aunt for people because she wasn't able to travel, and so this was
Hmm.
a substitute for her, and just how meaningful it was, and I'd love for you all to touch on that, and also speak to the fact that it's funny to hear it, and I don't mean like to laugh, but that the dolls actually talk to you. So I'd love for you to speak to those two different aspects.
Yeah, a lot of people have told us that, especially repainters. I think a lot of times when they're repainting the dolls to make them look like somebody else,
Mhm.
or different type of doll, they say how these dolls tell them who they want them to be. And I know that collecting dolls, it's really a personal thing. right? Because it's either that doll looks like somebody that they know, you know, or looks like they looked when they were smaller, or they have that connection of, you know, their mother letting them have a doll when they were younger. Like we were just talking to Mel Odom, and he always, what always fascinated me about his story is that when he was younger, his mother gave him dolls to play with, you know, and when you come from a perspective of having a young boy, you know, that's kind of taboo, right? Even to this day, like, you know, it's very rarely will you have a parent give a boy a doll. Right. So I thought it was so poignant because it really helped shape who he was and helped him to be more creative because he was accepted. And I think that's what we hear in a lot of these stories when we talk about that is the acceptance of who you are as a person, you know, even through that doll, right? Just, you know, having this doll helps you to accept who you are as a person. And that's why we think diversity and, you know, diversity matters in dolls because it's a reflection of, you know, so many people. It's a reflection of your story. It's a reflection of who you are. And it's important to have dolls that look like that. And so, so his, you know, his story was really touching. The lady who creates Amy, who creates the dolls for the children, you know, that are disabled, that they have different differences, you know, whether it's limbs missing, that was really touching for me, that story, because besides the love that she puts into it, it's just hearing stories of the children who really needed to have a doll that looked like them. You know, that said that you mattered and that you're beautiful, regardless whether you have a limb, regardless of whether you were unfortunately in a war and you got burned. I mean, those things matter, and so those are really touching stories to me. But I think they're all touching in a way because they all come to a place of you honoring who you are and loving who you are. And it's so funny because Linda, one of the stories we had with Linda Beach, she wasn't going to tell that story, but she told the story about how her she has a company called Dolls for Our Daughters, and she told this story about how when she was young and she was trying to, you know, to ask a question in school, a teacher looked at her and asked her something that I think her thing was like, "Are you stupid?" or something like that. She said to her, and it just really hurt her so bad, and it really wind up becoming something that helped her to create these dolls, helped her to create the dolls because she never wanted, you know, children to feel less than, you know, or to feel like they didn't have, you know, that they couldn't ask a question and they couldn't be accepted for asking a question. So, I mean, all of these little stories is just so powerful to me. And she made a quote, and I think I wrote it down, and I just thought it was brilliant, the quote that she made, because she said, oh my goodness, I know I have it, and I'll get back to it, but it said, because I deal a lot with words. And so when I started my business, Dynamic Life, it was because somebody had said this word to me about me, which was a really positive word. It was saying that I was dynamic. And I mean, that really, it really changed how I looked about myself. Cause I didn't realize that, I just didn't realize how much that word would have taken me down out of all the things that I had done in my life, even when it comes to creating the dolls. And, you know, I mean, I worked in television, but when that person said I was dynamic, I didn't even see that person. It was just really hard for me to see that person. So I started creating these cards, and they had affirming words on it. And so when she said this, it just really touched me. She said, words harm, words hurt, words maim, and words can delay, detour, or destroy purpose. Wow. And I was blown away by that because that's what it did for her. You know, it hurt her when that teacher said, "Are you stupid?" You know, and it took her years and years to get over that. But because of how she felt about that, she created dolls that had a purpose, and she created dolls, you know, to give an opportunity for people to speak together and for the children to speak, you know, how they feel about something, and know that that you're not stupid for asking a question. You know what I mean? That you have just as much right to do that.
That around. Yeah, by making
by making the dolls, right? And so so her dolls have talk about courage and confidence and purpose and things like that. So everybody's story is unique to them, but everybody's story is very much not unique. You know what I mean? Like, because we all go through those things. Yeah. So
Ms. Georgette, Ms. Tammy, I was just wondering, there's a lady who's in South Africa who created dolls and used it as like her mission to build up. And it's funny you're talking about, raising someone's confidence with dolls. And she did just that, where she taught them how to make the clothing, even, just the different clothing patterns, use different colors, and spoke to the colors. And I thought that was beautiful. And is there anything, like, I have a nonprofit that I'm still trying to grow. It's called Second Chance Fashion, but I would love to go into that area where I go back to Sierra Leone, where my family's from, and deal with the women over there, and maybe have them start making doll clothing, that represents their culture. Maybe they can name it Fatima or Hawa or Maria, and then start to sell it over here so it can, at least feed their family and something like that. Is there someone I can follow or someone you would recommend who's already doing something of that sort?
Go ahead, Tammy. Tammy probably would be.
Okay, I didn't know if you were going to answer.
I know I got on a roll. It's okay.
No, I just assumed you were going to. No, not because you're on a roll. Anyway, yes. That's the answer to the question. So there are a number of people who are doing dolls in Africa. Taufik Okoye, Taufik, Taofick, OK, Oya, Taufik Okoye. He created the Queens of Africa. And I know that the dolls were at least initially dressed in Nigeria. I believe his dolls are still dressed. If they are not, whether they are or not, Taufik has done it. Another person who would be a good person to speak to is our sister Amma. Amma Gay. Amma runs Operation Sankofa, and she's located in Britain. That's where she lives. But she was raised, she's born in Ghana, married a man from Senegal. And Amma gives away dolls to people and to Black children. Actually not. She gives away Black dolls, to children in Britain, Senegal, and Ghana. And when she was talking about people who are the stories that are really touching, Amma's story is really touching because Amma takes these dolls, she takes them to these children, and she says, even in the UK, and we've seen other people, Doreen Lawrence is a doll maker out of the UK. We're seeing people in the UK saying, we don't even get the variety of Mattel dolls that you get. So we get the occasional Black fashionista. And so we have to depend upon, a lot of them are depending upon their family in the US to send them dolls. And Amma and I work together with Operation Sankofa, and I get dolls to her and she gives them to the children. And one of the most poignant things about Amma's story is when you hear her speak about the children who don't want the dolls. There are children who don't want Black dolls because they are ugly. That's how the children define them. And whatever issues you have with Barbie and how you feel about them, I would think that you would not describe them as ugly. And those are the dolls, most of the dolls that Alma's giving away are like Barbie dolls, that kind of a fashion doll. And it's sad that these children feel so poorly about themselves. And Amma also has gone into stores and said, hey, where are the Black dolls? And from some of the conversations she's had, she's seeing more Black dolls being sold in Ghana. I'm not sure what's going on in Senegal, but I think she spoke specifically about Ghana. So we've got those people. Also, I'm trying to think who else. I know Maithe. I don't know where her clothes are made. Maithe in South Africa. And she has Mompi Mpapi is her doll.
I love that name. I love that. I used to pronounce it. You did that thing.
I did. Now, if I did it right or wrong, I don't know.
Sounded good.
That's my little sister. She's brilliant. I love Maithe. I'm trying to think who else is doing things in Bokani. Bakani July, who has the A Girl dolls. She just moved from Botswana to Zimbabwe. So Bakani with the A Girls would be someone who you could talk to, because her dolls were dressed in clothing from Africa. They were, yeah, with the wax. Their dresses were made. They're 18-inch dolls. I'm trying to think who else.
You know, it's funny because I looked up online. Now come to think about it, I actually did some research, and I looked up online African dolls, you know, buy them wholesale, or African American dolls buy them wholesale, and the same ones that the guy or the person in Nigeria had, I believe that first one, Queens of Africa. They were, because, you know, they had made so many, or maybe they just went ahead and stole it and just continued making it. They were selling them wholesale in China, you know, the exact same dolls he was using. And I was like, now this just seems kind of wrong. If I'm a designer that's coming in, I don't want to go and use the only one I see. You know, I didn't want to use Barbie, and I loved his dolls because it had the natural hair, you know, and all the styles. So I just felt kind of stuck, because I was like, wouldn't that be copying? If I go and use his exact dolls, even though they're manufacturing it past his own order.
So what I would do is I would look at the dolls out there and see what's available, who is doing what. You can reach out to companies that, there's this whole thing with ethics.
Exactly.
If you were to do your own doll, you might want to do your own doll head. There are a number of doll creators who are doing their own doll head. And those dolls then go on the body of a doll that's that size. So you find a, you know, Barbie sized body that you like, and have your head put on that doll, or whatever size doll you like.
Sounds cheaper.
It would be cheaper, because they don't have to do the mold.
The mold,
you know, you don't
like
have the whole sculpting, manufacturing. You're just doing the head. So that would be a lot cheaper to do. And again, once you pick out we should probably take this offline, and I'm more than willing to talk to you and talk about the pros and cons of different sizes, and
Thank you.
So those are some of the some of the people that I can think of off the top of my head who are doing dolls, you know, and there may be some small nonprofit, but you want it to happen in Africa. Okay. Yeah. That's how those are the people I would contact. I'm sorry.
No, okay. I have a question. We're talking about, I'm wondering, all these dolls, and I know you have your podcast and you have different social media forums that you use. Where can someone find like a consolidated list of all these different diverse dolls? Like, I'm not going to just say African American, because you've mentioned some Hispanic ones and different ones, and we love all the diversity of these dolls. And like you said, it's so hard to get them into stores. So how do we find a consolidated list? If I want to buy my daughter a doll, then how can I find it without having to spend 3 hours, 4 hours searching the internet, which is so wide, as we know, to get this? Like, what does your social media webpage have that, or what's my options?
So right now, I don't know of a place. We are consolidating and putting together a list. So we will have that list. But right now, the place that I would recommend you go is to our podcast. Because we are interviewing the small doll makers. That's part of our mission, is to connect these small doll makers with other people. And so one of the things that people complain about, okay, I found a small doll maker and they've got an 18-inch play doll, and their 18-inch play doll is $90. I can go to my local store and I can buy an 18-inch play doll for my kid for $20, $30. So why should I buy this $80, $90, 18-inch play toy? Well, part of the reason that 18-inch doll is so expensive is because it's that little artist who had to pay all those fees and they can't get the doll in the store. The other thing is you are having a hard time finding them and they are having a hard time finding you. So
Yeah.
when we get these people connected, when we can connect you all, you can buy more of their dolls and hopefully they can drop their prices to a point that is more reasonable because they can make more dolls at a time. And so then their production costs are lower. So yeah. But
Yeah.
and I know, I'm recommending my doll podcast, but I don't know any place else
Right.
in the doll world fills a niche that nobody that I know of feels.
Sounds like
Right.
that's a task for you. Like that's
No,
your
that's
niche.
something we are working. That is
It
something
Yeah,
that
is.
we are
are.
working on because
Yeah.
for the second year, that is part of what we are going to be doing is building a directory and
Yeah.
stuff like that for people to
Yeah.
That's awesome.
to just find. So whether we have them on the show or not. So,
Yeah, it
that's
sounds like you can monetize that,
Yeah.
and you could be the Amazon for the doll world,
Speak
which
it
I
now,
would
speak
love.
I don't know if I want to be the Amazon.
They
We
start
can
out with
connect you.
books, you start out with dolls.
I hear you,
You know,
sister.
she's right though. I mean, it's very possible for you all for it to get to that level. You start
Yes.
where you are now. You don't know where it could go because you are right now. You guys are the go-to, place for this information. So from there, as you monetize, it's just going to grow. I mean, I think
Yeah.
that's beautiful.
Yeah. I mean, that definitely is in our second plan, our second phase of growth, is the directory and is to be able to bring everybody one place and see what's out there.
Yeah.
But Tammy did mention, and it's true. And I think, yes, we are talking about our podcast, but if you go to the page and scroll down, you'll see a lot of African-American designers, and doll creators that you have never heard of before. And,
Absolutely.
from those shows, it has information about how you can purchase their stuff and, reach out to them as well. So we
And
make sure we
Georgette,
put that out there.
on that note, I want to play a little something and
Sure.
to what you're speaking to. So
Okay.
give me one moment.
No problem.
And here we go. Let's see here. Okay.
What you see is what you get. Always looking, finding nothing back to where it started, baby. Fresh. That's what it is. Fresh, baby. Back to where it started. Always looking, finding nothing. What you see is what you get. We'll figure it out. This is where it begins, also where it ends. Looking outward for what's really deep within. How far you love is how far you win. And your heart still beating, get back at it again. Your eyes say more than your lips can grin. Take a breath, try explaining it. What you think shows in what you do. It's not you, but that within you. What you see is what you get. Changes and we take it as it comes. See our lives go in cycles, but behind the veil, it's so clear. The truth is just that you only reach so far. Oh no, coming out of the fullness of it
That's beautiful.
Oh, let me
Thank
tell
you.
you something. That just got me emotional. That is crazy right
Aw.
there.
Exactly. I'm feeling the same thing, Georgette.
It's so like, wow. Just, because as soon as you show it, like all their stories just pop in my head. Like I know
Mhm.
who they are, I know what they've done, and just, and it's just, and I hadn't seen it like in a slideshow like that. So that's like so
Yay.
emotional for me. It's I think for me when when I thought about doing this podcast, it really was just about showcasing, some people that I admired and looked at. And it's becoming so much more bigger than me, and it's, I think sometimes people always like, oh, what's your purpose? What's your, it's like, I didn't know what my purpose was, I really didn't. And I knew I did dolls and I knew I was in the doll business, but, when I look at this show and how it really affects people and the feedback that we get from it, it's just become so, I don't know. It's so humbling for me, because it wasn't a thought that I didn't have a projection of what this doll show would be, it was just an idea. And I said, I think we need it. I think we need to, just talk to some people who are in this community and showcase what they do. And it's taken on another life of its own. And I'm really happy to enjoy the journey and the ride along with that, so thank you for that. That was really awesome.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with Georgette. You look at the people and I remember when
yeah, exactly. That's what I'm thinking.
And every person,
I know why we did that, or I know why we did that show. I know why we talked to that person, And I remember it's so funny because one of the people there, Gene Foote, right? He's a huge doll collector. He's a major doll collector, and he's a major doll collector too for the Bill Lilly doll. And he's probably one of the last people out there that really knows the history behind that. But he was also on Broadway. And so I remember me and him jumping on the call, and we were waiting for Tammy. And when she got on, we probably was talking about Broadway musicals for like 15, 20 minutes. And Tammy was sitting there like, okay, we're supposed to be talking about dolls, right? Because I love musicals. I love musicals. And but just to have him and know that he worked with Bob Fosse, all of these amazing people, and I was so excited.
Goodness.
I was so excited to just have that conversation with him, right? Like, we'll talk about the dolls later, but let's talk about knowing this person, and so that was pretty cool. It was pretty cool. And so all the stories from all their stories just popped into my head. So that was awesome.
I tell you
it was
what,
so good to see their dolls too.
Absolutely, and just the variety of dolls and these beautiful, beautiful, beautiful dolls. I don't know how you would. I mean, it's really hard to choose just one. I mean, just for the presentation.
Welcome to the club.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I feel like I've been going through this, going down the rabbit hole. I get started on one thing, I start and oh, okay. There's just so much here. I love it. I love this one.
Yeah.
I have to
and so many stories, so many, you're going through there and it's like there's Paulette Goudreau. And Paulette is significant. Her story is significant because Paulette's the first person who we ran into where we understood there was conflict in the doll world. Because I think, at least for me, the doll, getting into the doll world is like, a little girl with her little, teddy bear skipping down the road, or her little doll skipping down the road. And that's what that's what I thought we were going to be doing, skipping down the road, meeting these people. Oh, isn't that nice to go to the next house? Oh, that's so nice. And we interviewed Paulette fairly early on. And she says, oh, I was blackballed. It's like, hold up. The doll community blackballs people?
Oh, wow.
When did this start happening? And so she gave us, a look at the doll world from a different vantage point. And she was blackballed for making history. It was a history, I guess, that people weren't ready for yet. She brought the ball jointed dolls. They had been exclusively in Japan. They were made by artists, produced. Everything happened with the BJD dolls in Japan. And, Paulette took the dolls to China, changed their face. They had, the more, I guess, faithfully sculpted Asian type faces. Mm-hmm. And when Paulette took the doll to China, she had the doll sculpted with a more traditional Western looking face and had them made in China. And it was like, oh, wait a minute, you can't do this. And I guess what it would be equivalent to today would be someone talking about cultural appropriation, but it's like, how do you culturally appropriate this doll by moving it here and changing it? And that's the cultural appropriation in the doll community is a whole different conversation. Georgette and I have it so many times. But she was blackballed for doing this. And once people calm down, she becomes this person who pushes the doll industry forward, because then it's like, not only can Paulette make BJD dolls, but so can Bob and Tim and somebody in Spain and somebody in Britain and somebody. So she opened this door for these dolls to be produced by people around the world. And BJD dolls they're beautiful. They're lovely. The way that they differ from your average doll is that in their articulation, they have a ball joint. And so these dolls you can pose them in so many positions. Some of them you can pose in yoga positions and just, crazy positions. Yeah. So just looking through that and smiling and like Georgette was talking about Jean and Bill Lilly. Bill Lilly is significant because Bill Lilly is the predecessor to Barbie. And I think people think that, there was, it's like, it's like one day we woke up and boom, there was Barbie. Right. But that's not what happened. Ruth Handler went to Germany. I think that's where she's from. Bill Lilly's from, Germany. And she saw this doll and she thought, oh, that'd be cool. I think my daughter would like that. And she made a doll based upon Bill Lilly. Excuse me. The significance of Bill Lilly, that's part of her significance. The other thing is she was just kind of like a knockoff kind of joke kind of doll. And so her history wasn't really documented. So you have people like Jean Foot who are significant to the doll world because they hold the history of dolls. So if Jean goes and he doesn't write down her history, a whole bunch of the history of Barbie's predecessor is gone. So we have these people, and so when Georgette and I were talking, it's like we have to interview Gene. Gene's in his 80s, and I pray Gene lives to be, lives a long, long time, a lot longer. But he's in his 80s, and he is one of the people who holds this knowledge. We have to catalog this knowledge. So in the doll world, it's not just about dolls and connecting people with dolls. There's historical stuff that's happening. We're interviewing people during crises, during COVID, during Black Lives Matters, and so this thing that started as we're going to connect these people together has become so much more, and it's embracing diversity, and we're talking about things that aren't being spoken about that need to be spoken about. And I know for me as a person, and I'm sure for Georgette also, how do we it's redefining how we fit into this world, and not only into the doll world, but what do we owe our people, our communities? What do we owe the communities of people who are underserved, who are underrepresented? That is where in the doll world is pushing me. So it's important for me to tell your story as a Native American doll maker, and to tell your story about your people. So it's becoming so much more. And
Right.
I'm sure if you come back and talk to us this time next year, it will be more.
Yeah.
It just,
And to your point, Tammy, it's everyone's story is important, and everyone's story needs to be told. So when we as Black people say we want our history is Black history. Our history is American history. It's not separate. We're not asking for it to be rewritten. We're just asking for it to be
Right.
told. And
we're
that goes
asking for it to be told accurately.
Exactly, and all the other groups that are not represented well and thoroughly and enough. So I'm glad you say that. Yeah.
Well,
definitely want to jump in and ask about this giveaway. So can we jump into the giveaway? Because I'm interested to see how I can win.
Oh no!
I'm not sure that's allowed. Never put it.
I know you got to shoot your shot.
I know, right? It's hard to ask.
Yeah.
So the way that the giveaways work is we ask people to subscribe to In the Doll World, so they are in our mailing list.
Okay.
And so what's happening right now, and we haven't spoken too much. I mean, we've spoken a little bit about it. We're celebrating a couple of things. One is our anniversary, and that one we've spoken more about. And the other thing is the annual World of Black Doll celebration, and that's what began in February. So every month, we are still giving away a doll, and we're still sharing videos from these people who are doll creators or collectors, and some of the videos are. We have one from a lady in Latvia, and we need to release that one. But it's just amazing. It's like, how does this lady and she's got hundreds of dolls.
I really want to hear that story, because when you said she's been collecting dolls for like 28 years or something like
23, yeah.
What in the world?
Yeah, she said I was walking in the forest and I found this little black doll. It's like, what's the little black doll doing in the forest in Latvia? If you don't know where Latvia is, it's over there by Russia.
Oh, I know where. Yeah, no, I'm familiar.
I mean, there are people who are listening, and
yeah.
And so it's over by Russia. And it's like this lady. Could you imagine? La walking through the forest. It's like, oh, there's a black doll on the ground.
Sure, why not? Absolutely amazing.
Yeah, and that began her collection. She found this doll, and so I'll release that one here soon. We need to get that one out, because I keep talking about it. It's just whoa.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And so I'm sorry, I got off topic. I saw a squirrel. So we are giving away a doll, and this month, do you have the photo of the doll?
Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry.
Okay. That's okay. So this month we're giving away a doll from someone we spoke about earlier. Georgette spoke about Dr. Linda F. Bede.
Okay.
And she created the dolls, dolls for our daughters. And so Georgette talked about her as a child, the teacher calling her stupid and whatever. So her dolls are really powerful. When you talk to her about her dolls, if you haven't seen her interview, you should check it out. Because she says, these dolls over here are the dolls who are like moving us forward in the medical world, or these are the people who are the activists, and these are the people who, it's beautiful and powerful. So we're going to give away a doll from her today, and her inspiration so Linda is not a doll maker. She is a doll creator. She buys dolls and redresses them.
Okay.
So the inspiration for the doll that we're giving away today is Black Panther. So you'll see, do you have her picture?
Oh, okay. This one right here?
Yeah. Yes.
It's so cute. She's so cute. I love it.
Yeah.
I see the
her little
Black
cat
Panther skirt.
glasses. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
The
see
skirt.
And then
Little Wakanda
her,
skirt.
yeah, a little, yeah, Black Panther skirt. This little sister got it going on.
Yes, she does.
So
How tall is that doll?
she's an 18-inch.
So she's taller than the typical Barbie. Then she's more, yeah.
Yeah, she's not in the. Yeah, she's in a different. Barbie is really considered more of a fashion doll.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm assuming it's because when Barbie came out, she had like amazing fashions,
Mm-hmm.
and so now Barbie is, she's got a broader audience, but 18-inch dolls traditionally, 18-inch dolls there's so many exceptions. 18-inch dolls are very commonly play line dolls. So they tend to be children, and so they have wider bodies and
I see what you're saying.
child-like features, and so and that's why when I was saying, talking to you, Almira, what kind of doll you want, a woman or a kid or there's so many dolls out there.
Yeah.
So yeah, and so this doll is an 18-inch doll. She would traditionally be seen as a play line doll.
Yeah.
But she is also a collectible because of how Linda, the stories that Linda puts behind them, and she dresses them in one-of-a-kind clothing. Linda makes their clothing. So there's a lot that goes on with those dolls. So that's who we're giving away today.
And Tammy, are the 18-inch, are they typically the same as the American Girl dolls, or no?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, they tend to be, that tends to be the most popular, just like Barbie is the most popular of the 12-inch size dolls, even though there's lots of them.
Gotcha. American
Girl is the most popular, and Mattel owns American Girl now. So
okay.
Can
So
I just put a plug for Baby Alive this Christmas? I'm going to say this. I feel like someone needs to put this on live video or on video where somebody can go back and rewind, that the Baby Alive black doll sold out for Christmas. I got my daughter one in October. By Christmas, December, they were sold out because I wanted to get my niece one. I couldn't find one.
Wow.
And so I feel like that's saying something, that they have less of different shades.
Yes.
And
I was going to say that's what it's saying.
I think they need to be more aware that, man, we want to buy
They want those dolls.
dolls like us. And if they didn't know, the black dollar purchases a lot. So why haven't they caught up? That's my question.
Yeah.
And see that we could do a whole show on that, because so I go into my local store, one of my local big box stores, and I see Barbies on the shelf. And they're the entry-level Barbies that at that time, I haven't been in a store in a year, so I don't know what things cost now. The entry-level bodies that have the painted on swimsuits. In that store, the white dolls were $3. The black and brown dolls from that same line were $5. So I go over to the lady and say, why are these dolls $5? And she says, well, because they're different. And no, they're not different. Look at the boxes. It's the same. They're from the same line. They have different color skin, different color eyes, maybe, but that's the same doll. Why is this one $3 and this one $5? And so we have this, back and forth. And I'm like, nobody should be put in a position where they choose to buy a doll based on the price because of the skin. So you have this grandmother who comes into the store and she wants to buy 10 dolls, and she can buy 10 white dolls for $30 or 10 brown and black dolls for $50. So grandma, that's a decent amount of money.
Right.
Grandma has to spend to get her babies these dark dolls. So I said, you guys need to reprice these dolls correctly. You are forcing brown and black people to make a choice to either pay more for a doll or give their kid a white doll. We should not be in that position.
And Tammy,
the other thing that makes me crazy is the number of blonde-haired, blue-eyed dolls. that is a recessive gene.
Mm-hmm.
Every doll line has blonde-haired, blue-eyed dolls, and some of them have multiple blonde-haired, blue-eyed dolls. So when you walk down, the aisle, if you came in, you were an alien, you showed up in the, some store that sells dolls, you would think, oh, this species primarily is blonde-haired and blue-eyed.
Right.
I don't get it.
And it's funny that you say that, because I have a picture that I want to show of how it might play out if things were different, right? I don't know if you guys saw this.
I'm sure I did. I know which one. Yeah.
You saw this one? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so we had someone, Doreen Lawrence, shared from her actual local store.
Mm-hmm.
She shared a picture, and it was like just white dolls.
Mm-hmm.
And she's saying, on my high street, and I'm living in Britain, and you go to, even in the bigger cities, it's white dolls. And she says, we need more dolls of color. And so the argument that the store, I finally told that lady, if you don't get this together, I'm going to call the media in. But she was saying, I can change the price on the doll for you. No, I'm not here today to buy a doll.
Mm-hmm.
I'm here to make sure that the next person who comes into the store can buy the doll that they want to buy for the price that they want to pay for it. So if you make the white doll $5 and the black doll $5, I'm good with that. If you make all of the dolls $3, I'm good with that. Price them the same.
Right.
Yeah.
And that was the thing that made me crazy about that story, because I heard that and I was like, well, why didn't she say, like, you're right, they should be the same, instead of, I'll change the price for you, and individual person, but not not addressing the fact that there was that disparity.
Yeah. And it wasn't her fault.
It was
the buyer. No, that's what she's telling me. It's not my fault. It's the buyer's fault.
Yeah.
The buyer bought them, and the buyer decided what price they should be.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care who bought them and decided what price they should be.
Mm-hmm.
They should be the same price.
They should be the same price. Absolutely.
That's all I'm asking. That's all I'm asking.
Period.
Yeah. That's all I'm asking.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when I was trying to look for dolls that were with different clothing for my daughter, the clothing lines, like the accessories, it wasn't. I mean, you go to American Girl doll, and they've gotten better into going to different nationalities. But when it comes for like Barbie, like, you're right, it was higher priced in Walmart and in Target. And then the clothing they had was like Elizabethan, and it wasn't I don't know. It was like, okay, I know I'm not going to find African clothes in here, but can I at least find some Poppy Brown or something that looks remotely hip hop-ish? Or but I really believe, and I pray that God blesses your podcast, because I know there are a lot of doll makers in the background that are hiding and need to be revealed, so that people can now go to their websites directly and buy something, so they don't have to depend on Baby Alive, like Rashida was talking about. Thinking that's their own option, or Mattel. I mean, Hasbro products. I don't know of any other people besides Toys R Us, which is closed, Mattel, and Hasbro. I haven't even heard that word since I was in elementary school. So I can't wait to see what your podcast is going to do. I'm just glad we knew you first.
Exactly.
Y'all about to blow up.
Yeah. And can I ask, since we have Kennard Cherry here, and I know he's a male, and I know we've seen a lot of female dolls, and I also have to ask this on behalf of some of my sons who I force to play with their younger sibling. Every time they play with her, she gives them a girl doll, and they say, I'm not going to be a girl doll. And so the limited amount of black, or even, I mean, I have an all black son, and I have a biracial son. So I need a couple of different shades. Mm-hmm. Like, do we have more diversity in male dolls? Because there are kids who have siblings that are brothers, that are fathers, and they want to play with someone who looks like them.
Right.
Yeah. And so in the stores, Mattel has the market on the diverse dolls. You know, that those are most of them that you see. Then we got our sister, Dr. Lisa. Dr. Lisa has some male dolls, and Dr. Lisa also has more different ethnicities. She's got Marisol, who look, I don't know if she's Puerto Rican. I mean, she, you know, she's Spanish and Black. I mean, she's around in there somewhere. You know, her recent ancestors. And we've got, I mean, there are some other people, but for the most part,
Yeah,
that's
I don't know too many.
that's where they're coming. There are some in the 18-inch range. There are the store brands have boy dolls. You know, so that's like My Life as a somebody. I can't remember who has the My Life dolls, but they have a few boys. But yeah,
Does Naya have a male doll, or she was thinking about doing a boy doll? I thought Naya Dorsey.
no,
She
but you know
was
who
it?
does? When you said that, Doreen has a boy
Doreen.
baby.
Yes,
Well,
Doreen has a boy. Yeah,
what's his name? It's Ruben. It's
it's
Ruben,
Ruben.
and
Yeah.
it's Ruben's cute. But now they tend to be more like baby like. But when you see the pictures that she has of is Ruben, the
So
term that the
cute.
Brits use is cheeky. It's Ruben is just like cool. They'll have his hair like in locks, or he got the afro. I mean,
Yeah, he's a
Doreen
smaller doll.
loves them
Yeah,
babies. And I think Doreen probably. I'm assuming she sits there and just starts messing with their hair. I mean, it's crazy, you know. So yeah, those are the people off the top, and I'm sure we'll hang up and I'll think of somebody else. But those are the people who tend to have the majority of the male dolls, and you'll find princes too. Disney does princes because they'll have this girl prince, and you know, in the story there was a girl prince and the princess and the prince. So they'll have a princess and a prince. You know who
yeah. I
has
can't think
boy
of anyone.
dolls? Joey, but I don't. His, I think that Joey's dolls. Joey tends to his little head dolls and first love tend to be geared toward gay men. But those dolls are dolls. So I mean, so they tend to have more. They're more colorful, maybe pink and yellow hair, but they're dolls. I mean, so is what's the gender of or the um, what do you say? The orientation of a doll. Dolls don't have any orientation. So you may look at Joey's dolls and find one that you like. Um, I can't think of anybody else off the top of my
Yeah, I can't
head.
think of anybody. I can't think of
So
anybody.
yeah. But again, check out our shows because there could be somebody we forgot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of the things
Yeah.
there's someone pushed a comment. I didn't want to
Oh, I'm sorry.
make no, you're fine. Want to make sure that we ask their question in regard
Okay.
to let's see here. Okay, so it's
And
Dean
make sure
Ring.
you tell who
Hey,
the doll is.
Dean.
Hey, Dean.
there's been a lot more activity in the online doll community since the pandemic started. Do you think this is temporary? I hope it isn't. So there was a kind of a question
So
that was there.
so thank you, Dean. Um,
Yes.
Dean's one of our friends. So I think what I'm finding is that I'm finding people who are saying, I'm going back to work, so I won't have the time to do what I'm doing. I think we will see more activity in the doll community than we saw pre-COVID, but it will not be the same amount as we see during COVID. That we saw during when COVID is over with and people are going back to work and getting back into their their daily routines, they won't have so much time for dolls.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I was going to say, in my research, I did find a few male dolls. So Rashida, I can't think of the
Okay.
name of the maker right now, but I will definitely send you the links.
Okay.
And we're actually coming to close the show, and
Okay.
I wanted to know from you both. You had mentioned that one of the things you wanted to do was take this show on the road, which I think is
Oh,
brilliant.
yes. We would
And so
love
I'm
to.
wondering, where's the first place you want to go when things
Oh,
open up?
God. Out of my house. That's the first place, out of my house.
Yes.
Come up out of lockdown. That's the first place I'm going.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, wow. I mean, we have so many people and so many friends everywhere.
I know.
This
I know
is the
you
thing,
do.
right? Who do we want to hook up with, right?
Yeah.
But I think
Yeah, I
maybe
could-
over in England, maybe, or
Yeah, we talked about that. We've got
Paris or something like that.
pockets of people.
Mm-hmm.
And so we've got pockets of people in Britain. We've got pockets of people in New York. So
Yeah.
I think that we would start in one of those pockets. And it may also depend upon what time of year, because there's somebody doing a doll show in. So,
Mm-hmm.
That then dictates where we go. But oh yeah, I can't. I'm ready to leave my house.
Yeah, whoever does a live doll show, a conference or expo or something, that's probably where we want to be, because they have been putting them on hold for about 2 years now, and so we're looking forward to joining one of those. And so we don't know where that's going to be at yet, but yeah.
I personally would like to see you on Ellen or Oprah. if you could take a guess, bring me.
All right.
Excuse you, how you gonna jump the line in front of me?
Because you know how Oprah does on the OWN channel, they have like shows and she's doing interviews, and I could see you doing an interview with Oprah or even Ellen, because she's fun and she like exposes people to things that they are unaware of, right? And the diversity, and when we saw that slideshow, I definitely, and all joking aside, I definitely could see you on like, the Today Show or somewhere in New York or something, because I think your platform, to me, I was in the dark. I was in the dark until this interview, and this interview enlightened me, and I think that like you're doing an amazing job, and I followed you, and I can't wait to see what's going on, because my daughter is a big doll. We have the triple bed, accessory, Almira. And so,
I know that one.
so I'm just saying, like, pretty amazing. The accessories are amazing. So, like, yeah.
They are. They really are. I tell you what, I miss my I had a Tuesday Taylor penthouse apartment, and I had the Tuesday Taylor doll. I loved them both.
Oh, that's so cool.
I loved them. I wish I still had them right now.
I think I might have one around here. Let me look and see if I do. I'll get back with you. Okay.
All right.
They're fairly, they come up fairly often online.
Okay.
What's you showing us? What are you showing us, Elmira?
I got one more show and tell. So
yes.
Okay.
It's like dolls.
You need to check out Pat. She needs to check out Pat.
Isn't that beautiful?
Yes. Yeah. You need to
check out Pat's show. She does that. So beautiful.
Because I want. Am I showing this right?
Patricia
Coleman
Cobb.
Oh my God.
That is gorgeous.
Cobb. Yes.
Do they do this in the doll world?
That is really
Patricia
nice.
Coleman Cobb. We interviewed her. Yes.
Yes.
Patricia Coleman Cobb. And the lady is award winning, is in galleries. The sister is bad.
Yes.
Patricia Coleman Cobb. That sister is bad.
She's on the show.
Coleman Cobb.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she was in the
She's
slide.
in Georgia.
Definitely go to their website. Yeah.
Yeah, check out that
That's
sister.
nice. I love it.
Yeah, check out that sister.
Beautiful work.
Oh my gosh, ladies, we have like a minute. So
okay. The winner of the doll.
Thank you.
Thank you. Number 27, and that person's name is TK Mothershed. So
okay. Yeah.
I will reach out to that person and
congrats.
Yeah.
Congratulations, the winner. Yay. This has been wonderful. Thank you, ladies, so much for coming and joining us today. We really appreciate you and all your knowledge. You guys are like little encyclopedias, and there's just so much. I'm very much looking forward to many, many more years to come of your show. Congratulations again.
Thank
happy
you guys for having
anniversary.
Thank
And
you.
much
Sure.
more success in the annual celebration. And
Yes.
Tammy, I hope you're still partying. So thank you so much. We will talk to you soon.
Oh, we hope
Thank
so.
you guys for having us. We
Looking
really
forward to coming
appreciate it.
back.
Thank you. Nice to meet
Thank
everybody.
you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.
All right.
Bye.
So, Miss Almira, do you have any closing comments you want to share with us?
I love them.
It shows if we're still live. Are we still live?
Yeah, we're still live. Yeah.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was wondering too. So, I mean, they just opened my whole world because, being a designer, you don't want to be stuck in just doing fashion week for people. You get tired of it. I'm not going to lie to you. I've been doing it for like 15 years. I don't want to sew another wedding dress, another prom dress. I just, so for me, it was like, okay, what can I do that's within fashion that will still allow me to use my creative juices?
Yeah.
And I started looking. One of my friends were just like, you don't make I only made this doll for, it was like 40 tables for a quinceañera at a banquet hall.
Oh,
and
wow.
the woman continuously uses it over again for other parties. And I was like,
wow.
Money off my doll, son. This is not right. But I was happy to know that, okay, there's another avenue for me. But I never had a mentor, so I'm definitely going to hit them up.
Absolutely. That's wonderful. There's so much creativity. I mean, the things that you design and make, they're so gorgeous, Almira. I can't wait to, you blow up.
I'm going up with y'all because y'all, I love this. Oh, I'm gonna share this link to everyone.
Yeah, it makes me think about, again, when we're dealing with manufacturing and you're dealing with having to source products. I'm all about trying to own the process, right?
Yes.
And of course, there's a lot of knowledge dropped in there in regard to outsourcing and getting companies to, I guess, OEM your products, all that good stuff. But it's also owning that process too would kind of help to kind of create that avenue inside of the market so that it can stay a thing and it is not bottlenecked by competition or blackballing and things of that nature.
And to that point, Kennard, that changed the game. Just for us to have our own distribution channels when it comes to movies, having our own distribution channels when it comes to these dolls, that's an arena for exploration for sure.
Right.
I mean, not to be not that it sounds racist, but where is the Black Mattel that just solely concentrates on the African American doll and bringing it up? I mean, I know Mattel does; they're diverse, but I want to see where's that Black owner. And the closest one I ever seen was the one in Nigeria with Queens of Africa.
Yeah,
and they came out pretty good, pretty big, but then they died down. And of course, it probably deals with marketing.
Yeah.
There's one other one. There's one other one, and I can actually see Almira, what I'm saying, doing that same thing. There's one other one.
Yes, sir.
That's what I'm saying.
I love
it.
Yeah, I mean, create that avenue. Of course, that's just where my mind works. I'm a techie by nature, so I'm always digging into the process. It's like, okay, well, if I can get this material, then maybe I can find a place to make the molds for it, and I can do it myself. That type of thing. So yeah.
Absolutely. She did say a 3D printer was there, so
yes.
And I feel like only because I think I know my daughter has, and I know this is low for doll collectors, and my daughter's only 5, but she has over 40 dolls, and it's getting to the point where we're like, okay, well, we want the dolls with I think they called it BJD, ball joint.
Yeah.
But now we're getting particular. I don't want the doll that arms don't move, and I need their legs to cross. And but one big thing is for Christmas, my daughter's a very girly girl, and so she is like, I need a big gown dress. And we got to the point where we were looking on Etsy, but my daughter was like, no, and we never bought that dress. And I saw your styles, and I was like, it's long, because most of the dresses, the people who just do accessories, they're usually short dresses. And my daughter's like, no, it's above the knee. It's I want, there's very different industries. Like she said, do you want the t-shirt and shirt? Because there's kids who want that. And then there's the other kids. So you could do a sample on my daughter, because she is very particular. And I never thought you'd have a child and they tell you they don't want you to buy them something. And she's like that. Like she knows what she wants and she dresses herself and she's the mismatchy girl and I let her be her. But I think that this industry is so remarkable because you do see these like accessories and jewelry and I mean, man, there's so much out there that I could see you doing. I'm gonna have to follow you and see where your career goes because that's amazing.
But Rashida, it hit me hard when you said the baby. I mean, I wrote it in my notes. I have 2 pages of notes. So when my head was down, I was literally like, this is like, I'm in school right now. And you talked about Baby Alive and it keeps sticking out like it was sold out by October. Like I think you bought it in October or a few months before. And then people have to wait literally till Black History Month before they see Mattel do something. So it's like, I think this might be my entry point.
Yes. How about that?
I was like, do I do Fashion Week with regular people's clothes or should I jump into the doll community? And I might just, y'all got me excited. For real. Your daughter will be on my panel.
Oh my goodness, that is so cute. Oh,
she's a little adult, so I'm sure she would love that.
She'd be perfect for it. But we gotta shut this thing down. Kennard, you had a couple of things you wanted to announce.
Just a couple of announcements, local things to the DMV, around DC, Virginia area. Place called Creative Suitland Art Center. I don't know if a lot of people know about it. It's on Silver Hill Road in Suitland, Maryland. And pretty much it's a second location to Joe's Movement Emporium, which is pretty much in the arts district that's over in Mount Rainier, Maryland. So the first thing, Creative Suitland, they're having a porch concert series that's starting up next month. And I think one of their first performers is Deborah Bond. We had her on the show a little while longer. So that's it's on March 7th. March 7th.
March 7th?
I'm sorry, May 7th. I'm sorry.
May
7th. Unfortunately, I won't be able to be on that show. I'll be out of town. So that's at 4719 Silver Hill Road, Suitland, Maryland. That's in those that familiar with the Maryland area. And the second thing, the main location, Joe's Movement Emporium, which is 3309 Bunker Hill Road, Mount Rainier, Maryland. They're having a virtual concert series that they're starting up, I believe, in August. Okay. And so that's something just to keep an eye out for because, things are starting to open back up. So we're slowly starting to find out what's going on with certain things. And also Tamara Wellens, which is some of the background music you've been hearing. It's my wife. She actually is every third Sunday at 2 p.m. She's actually doing a live on Facebook. So that's something that she started up there to kind of just more engagement and just kind of give some new music and things of that nature. So that's all we have. Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Well, we will be letting you all know when our next show is. So please stay tuned. But I thank you so much for being here, for watching and for, taking a chance and learning some more about this whole doll world, man. It's fascinating. I'm absolutely fascinated with it. So with that, I'm going to leave you all with, stay safe, stay blessed, and keep creating. À la prochaine, les amis.